Alrighty, ready. So we are going to go through this texture painting with the UV Snapshot. Okay, so we're going to start from, we've already taken the snapshot from Maya by opening the UV editor and then pressing the camera icon in our UV editor and then assigning a 4096 texture and making sure that the image is being saved into the correct area. So after you import the PNG, right? So make sure it's not a Maya IFF, make sure it's a PNG. That way your background just comes in clear like this, right? So right now it looks like nothing's there, but if we add a new layer right down here, then drag that layer down, then go to our paint bucket, press D as in dog on our keyboard, just fill it. We can start seeing something of the UV snapshot, right? But what we need to do is we need to multiply this a few times so that it brightens itself up, right? And we can really see these lines. So press Control G, and now we are going to start painting. So I added another layer on top of that, right? So what we are going to do now is we're going to start color coding these windows first. So what I want to do is I want to title this layer Windows ID. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to use my marquee tool by pressing M as in Mary, making sure I have the rectangular marquee tool. And I'm going to make sure that there's no feathering up here as well. And we're going to mask this selection, or marquee this selection. There, I'm going to press G. Right now, black is in the front, white is in the back, so I'm going to reverse that, okay? And I'm going to fill that. So now I'm going to press M again to go back to my marquee, and I'm going to put my cursor right here. And you can see it's a white arrow with a box, right? So that means I can move this selection down here because it's going to be the same thing. And then I can use my keyboard arrow keys to nudge it in place. Go back to M as in Mary. Move it over here. And nudge it. Got one more down here. Back to M on our keyboard. And we can nudge it over. Now we got all those, right? So I'm going to press Control and D on my keyboard. And this is the last window that we have over here. So I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to press M on my keyboard. Create a marquee. So I'm press G on my keyboard, fill it white, but there's still this little piece down here that we need to fix. And actually, I'm going to make a better selection. So now I'm going to press L on my keyboard and make sure I have my polygonal lasso tool. I'm going to hold Shift. That way I'm adding to my selection. I'm going to click within the selection and then to this corner. You can let go of Shift now. Go to these corners and just go inside and double click. So now that's selected. Now press G on my keyboard and fill it white. Okay. Now these are all the windows. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing for each one of these parts of the shed. So we have the front and 3/4, and then we have the back, and then the back side, right? So I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to title this Shed ID. I'm going to use I'm roughly just going to start coming in here and using my selection tools, shift, add to my selection. Now I can go in here with my polygonal lasso tool by pressing L, holding shift, clicking within, and just tracing out the rest. Click. Now I'm going to hold Alt because we can see right here that I've grabbed too much. So I'm going to hold Alt, and now I'm subtracting from that selection. Right there, and double click. Got that. Now I'm going to hold Shift to add to my selection. Alrighty, so I have got everything selected. It's okay to be a little bit outside of the lines, except for these things intersect. Right here, you want to be pretty precise. But anything like outside of it that's not intersecting with anything else, it's okay to be outside of the line. So what I'm going to do is choose a new color, just a random color, and then fill that in. Right, so I'm going to choose a new layer. So now I'm going to go in here, and these are going in different directions, right? So these are your windows, and then each edge that's connected to it that's going out. So these are going to be in all different directions. Okay, so it's important to to color code them as well as you can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have these as a um, separate ID. So I'm going to grab a new layer. My marquee tools, hold shift. Now it's all color coded, right? Now all we need to do is drag in our material or textures that we got from the internet. So I grabbed siding, uh, roof, um, doors and windows. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the siding. It's going to be a boring version of it. And then we'll do window. Right, so I'm going to press Control V. And well, before we do that, let's start making our mask. Right. So I'm going to go here and press I'm going to use W, and I'm going to use my magic wand tool. I'm going to click outside and black area, and it should select everything that's on that layer, right? So then I'm going to create an alpha, and I'm going to invert it, and there we can see it again. Okay. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to click these two, create an alpha, Windows ID, shift click all these, and create an alpha. Now I have my alphas for each one of these, and now I'm going to import siding, and I'm going to drag my shed ID onto it. and then I'm going to unlink it, and then I'm going to move it about. And what we need to do first is resize it. So I'm going to that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Control V again, add a new layer, drag that alpha on there, and then I'm going to move this independently. T, and just shrink it down to a reasonable size for this. All right, so there's my siding. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the windows. So I'm going to grab it from this image. So I'm going to use my marquee tool. I'm just going to make a rough. Actually, I'm going to fix the perspective on this first. What I'm going to do is press Control T on here, right? On this layer. Right click and press perspective. And I'm just going to drag this corner out to where the perspective is fixed. Yeah, it's close enough. Okay. So now I'm going to press Control A, Control C, and then I'm going to go back to my shed snap and Control V. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is start placing these windows in the right area. I'm going to turn my opacity down. And then I'm just going to, actually I'm going to marquee this and just make a wide selection beyond the window. Press Control Shift I and then delete. And then I got rid of everything else. Okay. So now I'm going to turn my opacity back up, and I'm going to press V, just V as in Victor, and then hold Alt, and then I can drag that over here as well. Right. So Alt. Okay. Make sure you press V first. V as in Victor. Right. Then hold Alt, and you'll get these black and white arrows, and then drag that again. Hold Alt, black and white arrows. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to just merge these down. Well, let's kick down the opacity and just make sure each of these are situated in the right area. And we'll just start nudging it into place first. We're using our keyboard, arrow keys, and then kick the opacity back up. 4. That one set. Okay, so now what we can do is we can merge all these. So click layer 4 and shift click the last one and Control E. All right, so now all those windows are on one spot. Now what we need to do is apply the Windows ID mask to it. So I'm going to hold Alt and drag from my mask and then drag it on there. Boom, all done. Right. So now I'm going to press Control V again so I can add another window, and I'm going to move this over here and turn down my opacity, press Control T, try to get this window M, make a wide selection around it, Control Shift I and delete. So now we just got this window. There we go. And going to kick up the opacity and going to merge these two down and drag my ID over there. Okay. So that's what that is, all right? So now I'm going to save this out, Control Alt Shift S, make sure it's at a JPEG, make sure it's at 100%, save it out, then go, yeah, I think the images, yes, images, and your shed to texture, and you can do the shed snap JPEG. Alrighty, so here's our shed, right? We are in Maya, so now what we're going to do is we're going to assign a new material to it. You can probably assign favorite material and blend. And now we're going to go here to our checker, go to File, go to Folder, find our project, our images, and Shed Snap JPEG. There we go. So you can go in here and you can start layering other images and whatnot over this one. We can add a door right here if we want to, and you just paste the image within the UV, and you're good to go. But yeah, you can pretty much put any image on here. You can take this, and if, like, say we wanted to add a door right here to this, we would just go face, or let's say we want to, yeah, this one, and assign a new material to it, add another blend to it, say door. Then we can find an image on the internet of a door. So let's do that. Oh, we already have doors. So what I'm going to do is go. Alrighty, so we're going to go to our doors here, and we're just going to marquee this out. Control J, and then that way we have our image. We can Control C, or Control A, Control C. Then go back to our shed snap and press Control V, and probably new document. And it's going to be 2048 by 2048. And press Control V, Control T, and I'm going to size this up and widen it out by holding Alt. Now we have our door. I'm press Control T, and I'm just going to extend it past the bottom so we don't have any of that, and just widen it a bit more and nudge it over. And then I'm going to use my stamp tool, shrink it down, hold Alt, get my target area, and get that leaf out of there. So I shift click all those layers and turn the opacity down. Now I'm going to turn the opacity down for this one. And let's see, actually the door is there. So Control T, Shift and Alt, get it into place. All right, so I'm going to shift click all these and turn the opacity back up. The opacity back up on my door. And we can do a little color correction on this, add a little bit more yellow, or darken it a bit. All right, so I'm going to press Control L, get my levels out, and just try to get that to fit within that. So there's the door, right? Now it's on there and you can get in, right? And you can just do that over and over and over again. You can add a bunch of dirt down here at the bottom. You can do whatever you want to do on this, right? So just make sure it's telling a story. Just want to walk you through how to actually put stuff in and alter it. Just make sure that when you're in Photoshop that you you save to the same document over and over again. So Control Shift Alt S. Anytime you change anything, make sure it's the same image, or it will not update in your Maya. Okay. So again, thanks for watching, and if you have any other questions, just shoot me an email, and I will get to them.